bell to start again. And I just got nothing to do at present. I don't think anybody would want to give me a job. All I've done is speak.
Trevor and the crewmen saved by Harry Jenkins could only express admiration at Harry's bravery and their regret that he should end up on the beach doing someone a good turn. But Harry had no regrets.
I'm only pleased that I got the other two fellas off their boat. I nearly didn't get one of them because he'd have gone down once more, he'd have got crushed, the thing would have crushed him because she went straight over the top of it.
Throughout today, Harry Jenkins certainly found out who his mates were, as dozens worked alongside him in a frustrating battle against the sea. The aim is to drag the trawler up the beach clear of the battering sea. By this afternoon, some progress had been made with the help of a bulldozer. But still, the trawler is not out of danger. The high tide due at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning will almost certainly smash the boat unless it can be dragged further up the beach.
So the battle goes on, quite literally, against time and tide. As far as Harry Jenkins is concerned, though, he's going to make every effort to see that it's a battle the sea doesn't win.
This afternoon's final was fought out between the brother and the sister team of Daphne Crossingham of Harrington and Max Lyons of Kahila, and defending champions Jan Koflik and Bert Odgers of Waters Bay. In great bowling weather as opposed to yesterday, the final was a beauty. Victory eventually went to Lyons 21-18, but not without a real fight. With 3 ends to go, Lyons was down 18-12, but after the 20th end, the pairs were locked at 18-all. Lyons went 3 up in the last end to snatch the title from Odgers. Practicing at the Newcastle Indoor Cricket Centre late today. They're a young team. They travel to Sydney this weekend to contest the first ever state women's final in this fast-growing sport. To get to this stage, the girls have had to battle their way through 10 qualifying games involving 5 other indoor cricket centres in this area. They lost only 1 game, and at the weekend will test their skills against 5 other divisional winners throughout the state. The team is Donna Farnham, captain, Emma Halliday, Megan Halliday, Sally Griffith, Ellen Murray, Karen Menzies, Ruth Gordon, Julie Porter, Sally Higgins, Belinda Clark and Sally Clark. Playoffs begin on Saturday at the St Mary's Indoor Cricket Centre, with the finals being held on Sunday afternoon.
Will be allowed on board on Sunday between 2 and 4 p.m. Meanwhile, 2 other vessels put to Newcastle waters today at Carrington Shipway. The first fishing vessels built by the yard in a decade were launched from the ship. Steel-hulled vessels, 24 metres long with a speed of 10 knots, have been built for Adelaide company George Ratcliffe and Sons. Another 2 trawlers are under construction at Carrington. All will be used for prawn fishing off the Gulf of Carpentaria and Toowoomba. The first 2 vessels will undergo sea trials before they are handed over.
Good stand, good play for the Cox. 9 points in front, so they've got to use up the clock, Newcastle. So Illawarra put pressure on them, try and get them to lose the ball. Rebellion. They've got to control the game. They can let the clock count down. The Billiard takes the drive. That's his game.
Davies, that's his game.
Oh, yeah. Nice play there.
The margin's 10:43 seconds in it. Jim Slack, he's been hot all night, slightly offline there. And the Falcons just using up time now.
Got to make the pass. There's plenty of defence down there. Quick passing. That's it. They've got the overlap.
Bateman, Johnson, just slightly offline. Into the hands of Bateman, who'll convert. 19 seconds in it, and the Falcons will go through and play the loser of the Brisbane Coburg game.
21 points to Jim Bateman. Black will take the three-pointer.
So the Falcons online for the national playoff. We've got another match to play, of course, to get into that position. There goes full time. And
in a clubhouse containing 75 years of history, the old Ironmen gathered to swap stories about Big Surf and big achievements. Most there today were Cook Hill members before 1940, days when the men swam wearing more than the women do today, and clubbies sometimes walked home from Sydney after competing in carnival. The story of the Cook Hill Club can now be told in these photographs and trophies. The club was formed in 1911 and produced a steady stream of national champions and a few all-time surf lifesavers engraved. For the past decade, most of the memorabilia had been languishing in the club basement. They were dusted off, and a public appeal for more items resulted in this display. Now the Cook Hill Club needs at least $6,000 to preserve the pieces and create a permanent museum for its 75th anniversary in 1986. Club President Frank Darcy explained.
We feel we have a moral obligation to look after this heritage, not just the Surf Life Stadium, but for the history of, in general, of Newcastle.
Coleman revealed his plans at the Gosford Chamber of Commerce meeting today, 2 months after he took on his new job. His mayor instigated moves to revive Gosford City Centre. What Gosford is lacking, according to the mayor, is a modern marina in the bay, with a pier similar to San Francisco's Fisherman's Wharf. He would also like to see an art and entertainment complex on the site of the existing public school, and Leeds Club House turned into a mini botanical garden. The council chambers would be an ideal state government office block or commercial premises, according to the mayor. He insists it's not just a pipe dream.
We are planning that way now. We've employed a consultant to look at the Gosford City Centre and to try and come up with some ideas. And the Gosford City Centre has to do something to combat these changes that are going to happen, and they have to plan ahead.
When the show opened with young Lisa Dorney from the Young People's Theatre singing Over the Rainbow, the audience knew the show would be over the top. Scenes from The Wizard of Oz were part of the varied lead-up to the two big stars of the night, Fashion and the Deltones. Organised by the Mary Mortimer Salons for the second year, the show of course featured hairstyles, and they too followed a rainbow theme. Light relief was provided by the talented ladies of the Newcastle Repertory Club, who showed they could remember the days of Shirley Temple. Later, the show included the now common rap dancing display, courtesy of David Bonificio and his company. A contrast was provided by the Julie Wilkins Band. After all the hoopla, it was fashion which took center stage, on the backs of some of Sydney's best models. The swimwear was by Gothix of Israel, the world's largest manufacturer of second skin. Though it is the dead of winter, it's already time for the spring and summer collection, and one of the most glamorous is sold by covers. Some of their ideas for summer are slouch hats and cutouts in long, lean dresses. More radical wear was provided by Mark and Jeffrey, Sydney designers now based in Hong Kong. Traditionalism still rules at wedding time, and proof of that came from a Sydney boutique called The Mating Game. Of the more than $1,200,000 the project will cost, the council will have to provide 8.2%. The committee accepted this proviso and is recommending to council that the project be given the final go-ahead. The state and federal governments originally required that the council pay 30% of the cost, but after council requests that its contribution be waived, the lower figure was settled on. Under the plan, 76 people will be employed for between 14 and 52 weeks each. Almost half the money is being used to create community centres, currently on the former council chambers and at New Lambeth. Other projects include an occasional childcare centre and improvements to beachfronts and parks. Also discussed last night is the possibility of council establishing a children's playground in the Hunt Street Mall. Alderman John Manning, who suggested the project, said it would attract more shopping to the city. After discussion, the committee referred the matter to the town clerk, who will investigate where the playground should be located and how it should be funded. Yesterday evening, Dr. Patterson thanked the people who stood by him during the stormy time of the board's reorganisation and the introduction of the user pays water rating system. Dr. Patterson told Ray Deneen that the water board is still overstaffed, and because no one is being sacked, that will take 10 years to be corrected. Yet he's leaving now because he believes his job has been done.
I've been here very much on a part-time basis for the last 6 months anyhow, Ray. About a day a week, because we've got a team here that can run the board and run it well. I'm take great satisfaction in that. I think that's the real achievement, that this outfit now is under good management and will continue to produce increasingly good results in the years to come.
So you've done exactly with the board what you intended to do 2.25 years ago.
Very much, yeah. There's, I guess, we've got an answer on just about everything that had to be done except for one thing, and that is sewing of the unsued areas. And that's, if you like, my one area of non-achievement.
Your reign at the water board has certainly been controversial in more ways than one, but were you more controversial than you would have liked to have been?
I guess we'd all rather be loved, but the view I took was that things were in a mess. A number of things had to be done whether people liked it or not, and if one was right in believing what had to be done should be done, then the results would be the vindication. I think the results have been, and people are now taking a much more tolerant view of my antics than they might have been 2 years ago.
You said originally it would take 3 years to do it, so is the 2.25 even more of a win for you?
Oh, you can't split hairs on timing, but when Lander appointed me, I said I'd take 2 years to do it and give me one for luck, but it took about 2.
And where do you go from here?
The job I'm going to is Director General of Water Resources in Victoria, to head up a new department which has been established under a new act announced today at the same time as my appointment, and that puts me in the box seat for the whole water industry Victoria-wide.
How would you like to be remembered by the Hunter people?
With amusement and affection.
The Public Medical Officers Association has not responded to such a request from the Newcastle specialist, but spokesman Dr. John Duggan is almost certain such action could be called.
There's a distinct possibility that this action would be endorsed.
What happens if it isn't endorsed? Will the Royal Newcastle specialists go out on a limb and take the action themselves?
I don't envisage the situation where the Royal Newcastle specialists will, as a body, move along that line, but I could envisage that individual people will take the action that they think most appropriate to them.
Since the Doctors' Dispute worsened, public opposition to their stand has been mounted. A group at Gosford has begun picketing doctors' surgeries, and a similar protest group representing a cross-section of the community, from pensioners to the unemployed, has been formed in Newcastle. The group says its aim is to defend Medicare.
We feel that Medicare is something that's going to benefit the low-income and pension people, and we feel that it should be given a chance to live. Therefore, we are defending Medicare, and we feel that the doctor's attitude is just an attack on Medicare.
Before the Minister took the microphone, the President of the Scone Shire, Councillor David McIntyre, spoke briefly on the history of the sewerage system. The idea for such a system was first proposed in 1971, but disregarded because it was considered too expensive. It was not until 1977 that it was suggested again, but a series of delays prevented completion of the project until last year. The initial cost estimate of $950,000 more than doubled to $2.3 million. The cost was shared by the state government and the Scone Shire Council, but it seems some of the cost will also be borne by the people of Aberdeen.
I can't see that these schemes can go on very much longer with our rate of inflation and expect people to be able to use what everyone takes for absolutely for granted, and that is sewage and water, if they're expected to fund the entire cost. I mean, say this is $2.3 million, which the state government luckily picked up half. So it's $1.15 million spread amongst 1,500 people in a town the size of Aberdeen. So they're going to be paying for it and paying for it a long time to come.
In his speech, Mr. Stewart said that the new works must be welcomed by the townspeople, many of whom had been relying on the old-fashioned pan system. The works have been in operation since December, but as a symbolic gesture, Mr. Stewart threw the switch. The modern Bacchus box system is capable of servicing the needs of 4,000 people, more than twice Aberdeen's present population. Mr. Stewart also unveiled a plaque, but he did not want to draw too much attention to it because it bore the name of his predecessor, Mr. Lynn Gordon, who was scheduled to perform the opening back in February. The plaque on Aberdeen's new library also bears the name of Mr. Lynn Gordon, but once Mr. West had been assured that new plaques were on the way from Sydney, he didn't appear too concerned. In opening the new library, Mr. Stewart announced a $33,000 grant to the Upper Hunter Regional Library, of which the Aberdeen branch is a part. He also pledged $3,000 to the Aberdeen branch.